Hello, so we've reached the midpoint in the semester and you've completed your first project, the CBA, and now we're moving on to the ASL, and that's an analysis of student learning. So where before in the CBA you created the assessment, at this time you're going to be using some other assessments from other teachers and you'll be analyzing the student learning. So let's talk about what this will look like. Project 2. Directions. So this project you'll turn in two parts. The first half is part 1 through 4, and then the second part is 5 through 7. So let's talk a little bit about what this first half will look like. The first thing you'll do is you're going to choose a data set. And that data set I already have for you. Right here, if you look at data sets. And you can open up whichever one you want. It doesn't have to be part of your context or your grade level, it doesn't matter. The understanding here is that if you can analyze student learning from any set of data, then you can analyze student learning in your own context. So I wanted to make sure that you have some real robust assessments to analyze rather than something from your own context that's not so great. So all you'll do is you'll choose one of these, and let's just choose one for example, and it will pull up all of the data sets. So here's the directions and the rubric, the objectives and the goals, and then these are all student work samples. Okay, so you have 10 student work samples. And so what are you going to do with this? Well, what you're going to do with this is the first thing is you're going to give an overview of the task or assessment. So this is 2 or 3 paragraphs, and you're really just setting the stage here. Okay, so you can work with a partner, or 3 at the most, not any more than 3, but you're welcome to work alone or with, a group of a couple of other students. So the first thing you're going to do here is you're going to just give me an overview. What is it that it's assessing? What are the intended outcomes? What will students know or be able to do? What's the context? This is an AP literature class. And then who are the participants? Oh, these are 12th grade AP students. Okay, so it's not a lot of information, but I just want you to sort of discuss it with me so I can sort of see the context of the assessment. So now number 2 is a lot more involved. What you'll do here is you'll go back to your text, and where it talks about the sound design of assessment, validity and reliability, I want you to refresh your memory, and I want you to look through the rubric or the answer key, the selected response, whatever kind of assessment you're analyzing, and I want you to use the professional language from the text and talk about, is it valid? Is it reliable? And then don't forget, not only are you going to analyze this and critique it, but you're going to also provide recommendations. So what could have made this a better assessment? The rubric needs to have more range. The assessment's questions are ambiguous, whatever it is. So think about that. So you'll have, is it valid? Is it reliable? And what are your recommendations? The next part is a visual representation of the data. And this is not very complicated at all. All I want you to do here is to take your raw data, like the one we just looked at where there are 10 students, and you may choose to just create a simple bar graph showing student achievement. 4 students got A's, 2 students got B's, 1 student got a C, or you can show it in a different way where you show it by questions, where you show, say there's 5 questions on the assessment, and you may decide to say, oh well, 3 students missed question 1, all 10 students missed question 2, and what does that tell you? Okay, so then you want to write just a little paragraph about what your visual representation is about. So then the fourth part here is about specific feedback. You want to make sure that you read the text. The chapter in the text about feedback is really important here. There's evaluative and descriptive feedback, and you want to make sure you understand the difference between the two. If you are using this assessment for a formative assessment, then you'll be using descriptive feedback because you want to give students help and scaffolding so that when they rewrite it or redo it, they'll be able to do better. Now, evaluative feedback is used for summative assessments. And that's just where you say, hey, good job, I really like how you did this. Or, you want to make sure that you think about, following the directions more closely next time. That's for a summative assessment where students won't have an opportunity to rewrite or revise. So make sure that you use one or the other of those types of feedback and see the text for details. The other thing I want you to really pay attention to is this is feedback for each student. So you are writing this feedback on the student's paper for them. If you are writing it to a third grader, it should be understandable by the third grader. If you're writing it to a 10th grader, it should be understandable to the 10th grader. So make sure that your feedback is student-friendly for your context. Okay, so that's the first part of the ASL that you'll be completing, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4.